There's a new swagger around Vandy football. The Commodores are poised for a big season. Kurt Page joins me. Let's get it.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen every day. Shout out to the everydayers. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Well, today's episode, as you can see, we welcome Kurt Page back. Kurt, glad to have you back. But, man, Vandy's culture overhaul, the new stadium renovations, man, there's quite the buzz around the program. Fans are excited. There's a new confidence, swagger that I haven't seen in a long time on West End, man. What do you think?
Well, I think it's a great time to be a Commodore, you know. The stadium renovation is a starter, and that's getting Vanderbilt united and putting us in a great path. And then bringing in the new players, the new coaches, the new swag, the new just everything that they're new is going to be a very, very positive thing. And that's what you want going into a season. And, man, it's going to be exciting to see how it pans out.
Yeah, there was a special on SEC Network Plus. They did the all access of the Vandy spring practice. And I don't know if you've seen it, but if you get a chance to watch it, one of my biggest takeaways was just how candid it was, just how like real it was. Because usually those things are just PR driven. It's just very basic, very vanilla. You see some practice clips and you don't really gain a lot. The coaches are going to say coach things. And, you know, it's just very just vanilla. It's kind of the same for every program. But like this episode, I guess maybe because it was aired on SEC Plus, but it was very candid. Like Clark Lee was saying stuff that I've never thought a coach would say as far as like how confident they are. There's guys going back and forth, going at it with each other, like competing in a good way. Jerry Kill is a very big part of this episode. Like there's a lot of things that you wouldn't normally see in a program like that, a television program like that follows a college football program because everything's so guarded. So it just leads me to believe that if they're willing to show that much on TV, how much is really kind of underlying, or how much confidence and swagger is there really behind all of that?
Well, I think that's the A-point thing that you're talking about. That gives an A+ rating right there, because when you can bring and you can just be yourself, there's nothing better than being a football coach, a football player, a football team, a football community, where you can just be yourself and just love being yourself and don't change. You know, they are who they're going to be, and they've defined it, and now it's for the community at large to see the results, because it's all process driven. You know, they're not changing because the SEC network's there. They're not changing Locked On Vandy's there. You, Corey Burton. They're going to open up, and that's the way it needs to be. And I'll tell you what, that's how you gain followers. That's how you gain people that are going to influence and be part of your program in a positive way. So my thumbs are up. My hat's off to them. So I'm ready for it.
Yeah, they're definitely going to conquer and prevail, like your shirt says. Man, that's a super, super dope shirt there you got. It's
Joe gave it to me a few years ago, and when I can break it out, I love breaking it out. And, you know, he was a diehard Tennessee man. He's resting in peace. He's up in heaven watching us, and he knows that they're getting better, and that's why I wore it tonight in honor of Joe Code.
There you go. Joe Code, man. Love that guy. He was very special from my time at Father Ryan, my very brief time at Father Ryan, but nonetheless spent a lot of time with old Joe Code. So, great guy. But, when you look at these overhauls and the culture that the culture overhaul that we've talked about, like the spring was the first kind of real showcase of that. This episode, a lot of what's happened with the overhaul, the cultural overhaul, has been showing out in this episode, where you see a lot of Jerry Kill, who's been heavily influential in the offense. You've seen a lot of Robbie Steiner, who's the new strength coach, who has built a competitive toughness. I'm going to go there first. Like, that's kind of like your first line of change. That's kind of your first line of culture, because that's who you're going to see the most out of any coach on the staff is the head strength coach and his staff. They build a competitive spirit. They build the physical and mental toughness. Like a true strength program, what does it do when you're trying to transform a culture? How does it happen starting in the weight room? What are the key things that need to happen if you're a head strength coach they say, hey, Dr. Kurt Page, we need you. You're actually going to be the head strength coach here. We need to flip this culture. What is it you do?
Well, the very first thing is to work on getting rid of the emotional interference. And that's what Vanderbilt had for the last couple of seasons with Clark Lee and the staff. And, I mean, we couldn't even name the strength coach. Now we can name who the strength coach is. We can identify the strength coach. We see the strength coach putting the emotional intelligence and eliminating all the emotional interference. When you lose and have losing season, you are a target for emotional interference. Is the coach going to get retained? Are we going to have the coaches? Are we going to have this? Are we going to have that? So this strength coach steps in, Corey, and he captures the room. And that's what you want in a strength coach. You know, being around Georgia for many of the seasons that you were, they have significance with the weight room and with the weight room coach. And once they set the tone and the direction, and we're going true north, so things are going to get picked up, and they have gotten picked up. And then you got a personality like Coach Kill that has won wherever he has been, and he makes no bones about it. And he's an upfront guy, and that's really a gift that it looks like he's given that gift of, just being yourself, Clark Lee, for the community to start embracing you, because the wins are going to come now. They're going to come. The play is going to get better. We know that. We've seen that. We've heard that. And now to see, okay, they're being human. They are reflecting what's going on inside the program. They're not, like you said earlier, it's not a bunch of coach speak. It's not a bunch of players modeled up, and this is what we're only going to show you, blah, 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 all that stuff. They are opening their doors and being true Commodores, and that's what we need. And that's exciting to hear, and doesn't surprise us at all. You've seen the marketed transition happening, and now it's out there for the public to see. Now, the big thing has happened. Virginia Tech, that's first chopping block for us. We've got to take care of business there, and then we got to start building. Like you said, we got to build. We got to build a drive together. We got to build first quarter together. We got to build first half together. We got to weather some things that aren't going to happen. It may just all line up and we score 3-4 touchdowns in a row, But if it doesn't, we've got to have that. We've got to have that guy in the huddle, the guy on the sideline, the guy in the press box, the guy. Everybody has got to step up and want to do their job. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. They know their job. It's been identified, and now they're going and attacking their job. And you can see it with Clark Lee. Just he's relaxed. He's reflective. He knows he's putting the work in. He knows it's guided. It's measured. It's going to be an exciting season. I mean, like you said, we haven't seen that, and that's what's been missing. And now we're seeing it. So my kudos are off to those guys.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing he's done is hiring Jerry Kill, because I think Jerry Kill allows him to kind of do his thing on defense. And I think Jerry Kill said as much on this thing. He's like, hey, me coming in, like me and Tim, we free up. He goes, I think he said, I don't know if he said this exactly verbatim, but in as many words, he basically told Clark Lee, go handle the defense. We got this. Go do your thing. We got this. We're good. I've been a head coach before, so I can help you in that realm. And then when you have to truly be the head coach, obviously I'll step back. But like, go do the defense. We got you.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. So now everybody's in their sweet spot. Clark Lee's in his sweet spot. These coaches on offense, they're in their sweet spot. the players got to feel the sweet spot. And once you do that, Corey, only good things are going to happen. Are we going to win every single game? I don't think so. Are those the expectations? Heck no, not to win every game, but to be competitive in every game, to give us a chance. Let somebody come to Dudley Stadium and not be bringing their best A game, and they're going to get snake bit, and that's where Vanderbilt has always, when they've had the better seasons with James Franklin, with Watson Brown, with Steve Sloan, with George McIntyre, the names go on and on. That is when they have been successful. You let a Georgia, backup quarterback come in, so-and-so team, and that's when we're going to jump on them like some snakes.
Like a snake in the grass. I like it.
Exactly.
I like it. They're just lying in the weeds, man. But this episode is brought to you by Gametime. Gametime makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. Prices on Gametime app actually go down the closer it gets to the tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. There's a lot of features I love. There's a lot of things that I love. Obviously, the NBA Finals is going to be a fun matchup. But there is priority last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. And if you're looking for last-minute tickets for Boston versus Dallas, you're in for a treat. There's also flash deals that come ahead of a game or event. So like when you click on the app and you're looking for it, there's some good flash deals there. Zone deals, like you choose a section, let Gametime choose the seats. That's really, really good. All in prices. When you toggle this feature on, it shows you the total up front. So there's no surprises when you buy. So, but this one is my all-time favorite out on this app. You get a panoramic view from your seat. See, I'm getting all excited talking about it, right? So you click on your seat and you're like, oh, I don't like this view. I'm going to go to a different section. Like it gives you the view, so you're not surprised when you get there. They also have the lowest price guarantee, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. So Gametime ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off your first purchase. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN? Are you tired of all the shouting? You have to turn down the TV. Well, look no further than Locked On Sports Today. It's a 24/7 streaming channel dedicated and programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The early lines have come out on the first game. Virginia Tech's favored by 13.5 points. I don't buy that one bit. I think because of what Vanderbilt has in the tank and what they have coming in at the quarterback position, the pieces they've added on the offensive line, the pieces they've added out wide, the weapons that they've added recently with Eli Stowers at the tight end position, Darian Wiley, those guys, then all the stuff they added on defense as well. I'm taking, and this is not because this is a Locked On Vandy podcast that I'm saying this, but I'm taking Vandy plus 13.5 in that.
Oh, absolutely. I'll go to the bank with that. If we're up 13.5 points right now, you're basically thinking let's get a turnover and, we cut that in half. And so, it can be a competitive ball game. And all we have to do is hang in there and really it's a thing they have to prove it to themselves. They're going to have to prove it to Virginia Tech. They can line up and run what football plays they want to run offensively. And then defensively, we've got to be able to line up physically. And, we're the SEC. Okay, we're in the SEC. We're there for a reason. So these type of games are the games that we need to stand up and represent the SEC, and understand that it won't be a surprise to all the SEC folks because they know about Vanderbilt. The people that are going to get surprised are going to be the Hokies from Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right there. And for the first time, we have a plan. There's a plan.
Yeah, it's really a story. For a couple of seasons, it was kind of like, we're working like Houdini or something, or we're going to pull something out of the hat, or you can't operate like that. And so now let's define what we're going to do. Let's eliminate the emotional interference. Let's hunker down on what we want to do offensively. You've got some grown men that are running the offense. And I had heard stuff, we had the youngest staff. We weren't going to hire anybody over 35 years old. But I'm going to speak for the 60s and something. There's good ball coaches at 50. There's good ball coaches at 40, at 60, at 70. Nick Saban just retired at, mid-70s. So it's good to have those guys that have been through these wars, and they're not looking to gain exposure for themselves. They're there to win for the team.
Right.
And that's important. And that's what you get with a guy that we're getting with the offensive staff and the other members as well. So thank goodness. I love what you said earlier, the Aggie doors.
The Vandy State Aggie doors.
Yeah, I love that. But it really is. And it gives us an identity. You see the players, you see them developing, you see the competitiveness. The clips that I've seen from spring training was a lot of competitive, open field. It's inter squad, so you are tackling, but it's different. But they are going after each other, and that's something I'm sure does not happen in the Clark Lee era at all.
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if there was practices that even were close to that previously, because like I said, it just didn't seem like there was. I think they were just still trying to figure out what they had, what they wanted to do, and what quarterback they wanted to use, and it just didn't seem like it was as intense of competitiveness. And it just seemed like these guys just really want to get after it. Like Quincy Skinner and Colby Taylor have quite the rivalry going on there. Quincy Skinner, I think, he's emerging as kind of like the alpha dog at the receiver spot. And then Colby Taylor's the big 6'4" kid that's going to play corner out of Wyoming. And those two guys have a nice little rivalry going.
Well, I mean, that's the beauty of the transfer portal in today's college.
NIL. We're participating in NIL.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe it's just alignment of a lot of different things. And I'm so glad that the institution, Vanderbilt, has decided to participate in the NIL, as a school and as a university. And not only in football, but I hear in a lot of different sports we're getting grad transfers. And those guys aren't, they've got the experience. And so that's what's going on now with all that. So it's exciting times. And I tell you what, Vanderbilt, all we have to do is edge toward that sixth victory, victory. And you're talking about, here we go. Once you get in that category, then we're looking at a bowl game. We're looking at more players coming here, the tier 1A, the tier 2 players, maybe we can move up and grab another guy or two. So it's exciting, man. It's exciting. I think your show here, Locked On Vandy, has brought a lot of attention from a standpoint that, for example, we didn't have this exposure, Locked On Vandy, and now that we do, it's been creative, it's been innovative, but it's the same standard that you've set that Clark Lee is trying to reset, and it's like you called it from day one. It's a reset, and so now we see the reset. It's successful. We see it. We want to buy it. We want to see more of it. So now give us more. Let's do more. Let's take that 13.5 and use that to our advantage in the weight room. I'm sure Coach Stout, he is pumping that up, that this is what the people think of you. Even you guys Nothing changed when so-and-so transferred in. Nothing changed when coach joined our staff. It stays
2.5 wins, Kurt, is the FanDuel over and under for the win total. 2.5.
The thing is, I know a lot of folks in Vegas and other places are going to come watch Locked On Vandy, and they're going to see that there's two guys that believe in them, and there's a lot more people that are believing in them, and that's what's important. Because if you get the buy-in and you eliminate emotional interference, which we had a lot of emotional interference, are we going to participate in NIL? Are we looking at the transfer portal? That was all emotional interference, Now
we're losing guys to the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's declared. This is what we're doing. We're eliminating emotional interference. We're going to have guys that are focused and they can go play ball, and it's going to be a fun season. There's no way we should be picked 2.5 victories in the whole season. There's no way.
No, that's easy money right there. If you better jump on that before that changes. You better take it at 2.5 on FanDuel. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I there's 3 with all the changes and stuff. There's 3 easy wins out there with Alcorn State, Georgia State, and Ball State. Like you're going to get your 3 right there immediately right out of the gate. And so, well, not right out of the gate because you got Virginia Tech right out of the gate, but you have a chance to start 3-0.
Yeah.
Coming into, I think it's Missouri game.
Well, the thing is you know how it is with confidence and the kids believing in what they're doing and staying healthy. That's going to be a big thing. And so Coach Stowers is laying that foundation in the weight room. He's laying that foundation outside the weight room, with mental toughness, with how we're going to train, what kind of caliber of football players we're going to be, And so it's going to be, it's just good. Like you said from the start, it's great that we know the plan. We know the plan. We know what kind of quarterbacking we want. We know what kind of defense we want now. I mean, you've dialed it up. You've drawn it up,
Mm-hmm. I have. And there's been some updates since I've drawn some things up that, I think there's going to be some tweaks, offensive philosophy a little bit, because you have some more weapons on the outside. And I think there's going to be not like we're going to go all empty and, air raid all of a sudden, but, just some tweaks.
Well, that's as the players evolve and they develop, there might even be a little more of this, a little less of that, or more of this, or that's what we're paying the coaches for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're paying them for, and that's what we're expecting them to evolve our offense and evolve in our defense and our kicking game and all facets of our strength development, everything. And so now it sounds like they're all on the same page. I really am excited to see them training and getting ready for the season, because it's got to be now or never, and that's what you have to have. Every football season, Corey, you've ever been a part of, that's the mentality, right?
Yeah.
It's now or never. You got to do it now, or you never get another chance to do it. Like, this is our chance to open up our season. I don't want to think 3-4-0, but I want to say, let's win the first quarter against Virginia Tech. Let's win the first half. Let's dominate now, And I think that's what they're doing. And so now they're eliminating the emotional interference of, this is what they know the lifting now. They know the training. They know the defenses. They know the offenses. So, and now you've gotten personal one-on-one battles that are even going to improve team cohesiveness and synergy that we haven't had. When you don't have those battles ongoing, you've been around great teams as a player, as a coach, and if you don't have that, you don't really. When they get challenged in a game, everybody's waiting to see how they're going to respond. Now they know how our guys are going to respond. They're going to stick their chest up and let's go play ball.
Because they're doing it now.
That's right. They're getting reps at it. They're getting preseason reps in the scrimmaging on the 7-on-7. I'm sure they're working out
one-on-ones. They're doing
Yes.
They're doing like competitive things with Coach Steiner. Coach Steiner's pushing them to the brink. Like when you hear guys saying, man, these workouts suck, like that's code for these are actually really good workouts.
Yeah. You're a longtime coach and that's where it all starts. And when they have that and they are eliminating the emotional interference, we didn't know who the quarterback was going to be, what kind of system. We had good receivers. We couldn't get them the ball in a timely fashion. Defensively, it was a hodgepodge of defense. We got the best defensive coordinator on our own sideline and not utilize him. So we're all working to our strengths, and that's going to be exciting. And when that's exciting, your players then are excited. Then if your players are excited, your community gets excited. It's not rocket science. We're not curing cancer. We're trying to be a better football team, and that's what we're trying to do. So I'm excited for them, man. They have a plan. We know the plan. We can communicate the plan.
Yeah.
So
and knowing the plan eliminates a lot of emotional interference. And when you have developed emotional intelligence, when things got tough last year and all the noise started happening, all the doubt seeped in, Vandy would fall apart.
Yeah.
They go out on the road to Las Vegas, UNLV. Pretty good team, better than most years, but been an abysmal program for the most part over the last decade. They get slaughtered out there. I mean, it wasn't they didn't just lose. They took it to another level of getting just slobber knockered by a G5 team, right? So like that was like rock bottom.
Right.
And there's all this doubt. You come off 2-10, and I'm just amazed coming off of 2-10 how you go from a week long of is Clark Lee going to be back to Clark Lee does the obvious getting rid of his coordinators, like that was we all saw that one coming, right? But then you go hire Tim Beck, which people were like, oh, in New Mexico State, 10-win season, Tim Beck, it's okay. And then you hire Jerry Kill, and everybody's like, oh. and you're 2-10, and now you're starting to pull recruits. Like you pull an SEC lineman, you pull a Big Ten contributing defensive lineman, you pull somebody from down the road. You start to at 2-10, it's really hard to convince your administration to go dive into NIL, right?
Right.
Imagine walking up to the president and the chancellor of the university going, hey, and Candace Story Lee sitting there, they're all three sitting there in the office, and you walk in there, you're like, yeah, I know we were 2-10 last year, and we, our stadium is kind of an embarrassment. We're getting dressed in a tent. We just got our teeth kicked in by UNLV. We barely beat Hawaii, and we were not competitive in any game that we played all last season except for like 2, and one of them was an FCS opponent. But we need NIL money, and we need to be able to get kids here, and for them to just go, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's like, hey, like if we need this environment to be good, if we're going to be good, and okay, we'll build it. Hey, we need to hire the best coaches. Okay. Okay. Right. We need to get Jerry Kill. But we need some money to do so. Okay. We can do it. Right. Oh, we need to get one of the best director of scouting. Okay.
Yes.
Like we have this really good system. Now we need the quarterback to go with it. We've already got the guy from Utah who's going to be the quarterback of the future, but we need somebody like now to bridge the gap. And Diego Pavia is in the transfer portal. Oh, we need some NIL money. Okay.
Yes.
Like the fact that they've done everything that they've done.
Right.
It's amazing. After what happened last season, your coach is constantly on the hot seat.
That is the beautiful thing that happens when finally, I don't know who inspired who. I don't know if the president inspired the AD or the AD inspired the president or the coach or some benefactor possibly inspired. But somebody had to light the switch, and then it just started. And you can document it. You can go back on your shows, the ones I've watched and the ones I was able to participate in, and you documented everything that you have said. And there's still more that's out there. I mean, there's still meat on that bone, and they know it. So they're still going to be who they are. And they've eliminated the emotion. So now they're freed up. Clark Lee is freed up mentally. He's freed up emotionally to call a defense, to handle the in-game decisions, knowing what he has on offense, knowing, hey, I can be a little more aggressive here because we need the ball. We'd like to have a short field right here, So everything's going to play together. The synergy of the kicking game, the defense, and the offense. And it all started with the weight room, Coach Stowers. I couldn't even name who the past strength coach has been or was.
Yeah. Now it's Coach Steiner, and he is.
Yes. I mean, it's coming. He's came in there and he's controlled the room. And that's the beauty of the whole thing, because now, it is given those players, and it's a player's game. I mean, it's a player's game. And if they believe in what they're doing, then they're going to make it. They're going to make it work. And that's the beauty of where Vanderbilt's at right now. So, like you said, they're doing one-on-ones. They're doing competitive stuff in the weight room. They're going to camps together. They're working out together. They're traveling together. We haven't heard or seen or any of that in the past few upcoming seasons. You hear that about other places. You hear about Brock Bauer. Kids going to California and training with him for 3-4.
Now they're down there with Carson Beck and in Jacksonville. Yeah, probably where you are right now, aren't you, in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I'm in Jacksonville.
You should go peep one of those workouts.
I would love to. That's my plan, is to go meet with some quarterback trainers this weekend and to see the Jacksonville Sharks. A dear friend of mine is their coach, Kevin Guy, and they're playing. He coaches the Arizona Rattlers. So I'll be at their game Saturday. So,
well, Kurt, man, it was great having you. Thanks for joining me. We're going to stick around for part 2. We're going to keep this thing going with the Locked On Vandy podcast. So this is not goodbye. This is see you in a little bit. Make sure you stick around for part 2. As always, anchor down.